Good news, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Bandit Radio Hour. Yep, we're doing it. Sunday night. No, it's not Sunday night. It's Monday night. I work today. Wow, I'm really off. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for listening. This is still cool as shit and fun as hell to do. I'm here with Merce. How we doing, Merce?
Doing all right.
Dude, you legitimately have a farm around your house.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time for all goes wrong, but...
Like you got legitimate rows of blueberries. I saw it before the sun went down today. You got a small watermelon field. Like, it's all small, but it's like a legit farm. Like, it's a legit, real deal. Congrats.
Country boy can't survive.
Yeah, with the acid. Sulfuric acid.
Hey, don't tell all my gardening secrets. But
you did last episode.
Okay, true. But just a little bit of sulfuric acid.
I was really surprised you did, but I was like, whatever. FDA ain't gonna listen to this, maybe. Hi,
It's
guys.
a recommended practice. You can Google it. Anybody got any questions? Google sulfuric acid and blueberries.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just go slinging the sulfuric acid. That gets you in trouble.
Get Jethro Tull's opinion on that. But I digress.
But it's pretty clear. I am not an organic farmer.
So, dude, are you still doing melons for the Turners?
Yeah. Actually, I gotta go tomorrow.
Oh.
Help them spray.
Dude, you're a helper.
Why? What?
No. Just saying, you're a helper. You're helping people. That's not. I expect you to just be like, no, I finally decided to take like 2 weeks off and not do jack shit except what I want to do.
No, that's not.
No.
But when you said, "Oh, I thought you were gonna ask me to help you," and
No, not this time. Not until I think of something. Eventually, Hang Gates. That'll be like a Saturday, and I don't know. I'll buy you some brewskis or something.
I don't want to. I want 2 weeks off.
Yep. No. But anyways, yeah, dude. So you just been doing more spraying, more. But what?
Well, I've been actually just like I said, planting. Finally got all my blueberries and everything planted. I've actually got water and irrigation running right now, and then then tomorrow helping them spray their melons, get everything, and then hopefully then I'll have a day or two to get everything mulched and finished and.
Right. What are you spraying on their melons? Just fungicide and stuff?
Just sunshine and love.
Okay.
Just sunshine and love.
Yeah, just totally organic, non-GMO.
Sunshine and love.
It's rain. That's it. Anyways.
Eat Florida watermelons.
Yeah, they are delicious. And that's the best way to grow them. No, dude, I've been, I got the rhinoceros running again, the giant enclosed tractor that has absolutely no air conditioning. Been having that. Spray. I've been fertilizing and herbiciding.
I feel your pain because 2 weeks ago I had to spray, and when the tractor I was had, the air conditioner went out. And I'm spraying, so I don't want like the.
Yeah,
I didn't want everything open, so everything was closed in.
I just opened it all and bathed in the herbicide.
Oh no, it just.
No, I'm just kidding. FDA, I'm kidding. Don't come after me.
It was warm.
Yeah,
it was warm.
Dude, today was hot. Today was quite like not like middle of July. I'm dying, but it was hot today. The rest of this week, it's already in the 90s.
Yeah, it's gonna be the 90s the rest of the week, and it will not rain.
I got an argument with a British chick, and I was like, I know that y'all do Celsius or whatever, but it's 90 degrees here, and that's hot. She goes, we do Fahrenheit too. We're not Europeans. I go, all right, duly noted.
Well, and it's always raining there anyways.
Yeah,
they don't even know what a sun is.
Yeah, they call tropical Spain. We're like, whatever. Anyways, talking shit. I like doing it. Nah, dude. So I've been doing spraying. I did have one interesting thing happen besides watching a spider kill a grasshopper that was pretty metal. It's a bad drought right now.
Busy work day I saw.
Well, I was getting a gate, and he was on a fence post, and the cricket was bigger than the bigger wolf spider, bigger, and he had its head ripped off, and he was just kind of looking at me, and every move I made, he kind of I had respect for him or her. Hey, I don't know the gender. It's kind of backing off with both halves, and it's this is mine, bitch. I fought for this. I don't want to fight you, but I will. And it was on the post. I had the chain to the gate wrapped around, so I'm I'm gonna be careful, not because I don't want to get bit, because you just got a big meal or whatever. I don't want to ruin your day, man. Good for you. Took the chain off and opened it, whatever. But no, besides that, on a little bit more exciting, nature is metal. No, pretty sure an alligator ate part of a calf. Because part of my job right now is riding around checking our watering holes, which are ponds that are dug, and making sure they still got water in them. They're deep, and most of them still have water in them. Some of them, there's one that has none. Some are really shallow. Others are pretty good for right now. All the cows have good access to water, but in one of them, I saw what looked like the rump of a calf sticking up, and it wasn't that old. or like it wasn't from the death wasn't that long ago, and I did have a little rope in the 4-wheeler I was driving, and it like when I threw it, it probably went out to like if you completely unwound it and didn't have a loop in it or nothing like that, it probably went out like 25 feet. But this calf's like nearest part was like at 22 feet.
You didn't want us to go swim out and get him?
No, because it's a really shallow pond, and my mom talked about seeing a giant gator somewhere on the property, and like, I got my pistol, I'm fine on land, but in the water, that's their territory.
And as everything gets drier, they're all congregating
yes,
into
and
a few areas.
There's more alligator per square foot of water the drier that it is, and yeah, I like gave it like 3 little faggoty on my tippy toes on the water bank. like extending it as hard as I can. The rope just flaccidly slaps on like a foot away from it. And I'm just like, I'm going to come back tomorrow with a longer rope. That's what I'm going to do. Or a big hook or something like that. Get the body out of there. But nope, not getting in the...
Yeah, you can get like a weighted treble hook and a fishing pole.
Dude, all right. Ranch question for you. What is some of the... It's like we talked about dumb gun things. Like, what's some of the dumber things you had to do in ranch work? Like with wild animals or with...
Okay, so there's a pond over there between...
Yeah, guys, he's got it. I know y'all can't see it on camera. He's got a very excited look in his eyes. It's, all right.
We have a pond like that goes between our pasture and our hayfield.
And there's a fence straddling the pond?
Right through the middle of it.
Yeah, okay.
Rather than, build a fence around it with some gates or, one side or the other.
Nah.
Yeah, right through the middle of it, which has been dug out repeatedly. So then about every 2, 3...
So hang on, help me out. Is this just strands of barbed wire with posts that are in the... Once you get... Like, it's like, for people to imagine, on dry ground, you got these posts that's holding the wire, everything's good. When you're going into a pond and there's a bank, especially in Florida, the bottom of the pond is soft sand.
Yeah.
So you have to put things to weigh it down.
Here's how
you have to do special shit in water with fences. Anyways.
Yeah, so when they had the big pond and they put it across, we had to...
Were they using anything besides wire and posts?
Yeah, there's wire and posts in it, but like, last time we got super dry like this, like 20 years ago, they dug out the pond, but they just dug it from both sides. So there's a ridge through the center of it, but the ridge is like...
Underwater.
It's underwater, but it's not like 6 feet wide, and it's still deep enough for you to be able to... So you can still put the posts and stuff in.
When you're standing on it, how deep is it? Like when you're ankle deep?
No, it's still like waist deep when it's really dry and low. So that way, so the wire is like massive from the edges all the way down from the water rising so much. So when it gets down real low, all the wire rusts out and it's got to then be restrung. Yeah. So that's still waist deep. So
you better not be using that gaucho, boy.
You know how many times I've walked across and I'm just dragging this like roll of wire through the water. There's turtles and gators. But it was about 4 or 5 years ago. There's like a 7-foot gator in the pond, and I'm with my dad, and he's like, "I'll sit on the tailgate with the rifle, and you go in the
you go in the water.
You go in there."
Your dad is early Kyler.
He's like, "I'll shoot him if he starts coming at you." He's like,
and once he starts coming at you,
he took a photo. There's a photo of me in the pond, like titty deep, like hammering this fence in, and the gator just sitting over there looking at me.
How far away?
Oh, he's not far enough away.
Yeah.
But I mean, what am I gonna do? Tell my father no? He's also got a gun.
Yeah, well, your dad's got a gun. You going out there now? Fix that fence.
Yeah. So
skit.
It was at that moment I realized like this is one of the dumber things I've done in life.
Jesus, that's pretty dumb. I don't know. Like I've had a...
I'll see if I can find the photo and...
Yeah, share it. One of the things I did out east where I used to live at the old property, it was a giant cattle ranch. A lot of flat lands with some low-lying flag ponds and a big dike system. Big levee system with like real low lands. But feels like the wet time, and pretty much when it's wet out there, everything's wet. There's puddles everywhere. And it's like there was this lowland that kind of turns into a flag pond when it's really wet, but it's not even like, and when I say flag pond, I mean shallow pond. But like around here, it's if you get a flag pond, the bottom turns to like silty muck. This is never a flag pond long enough to have that silty muck. It's just a little low area hold. So we're pushing cows, and it's like me and Poncho and like 6 other cowboys, and we're pushing like, I don't even think we were pushing a smaller group towards a larger group, but we had to cut through that little divot where this flag pond is, and the cows go through, no problem, and me and Johnny Mac, my horse, go through. Dude, right underneath my horse, alligator just decides, fuck you, I'm going to freak out. And he goes crazy, horse goes crazy and bucks, and like, I had a good grip on the horse. It didn't even buck hard enough to like try to throw me off. It was just bucking like, oh shit, there's a gator underneath me. This ain't fun. And it was like 8 foot. It wasn't like a gigantic monster or anything. But I was like, if I fall off, I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
At the very least, I'm having a bad day.
It's one of those, you start rethinking your life choices.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's funny about work. It's about life in general. But like, you have this near-death experience, and then it's like, all right, what are you doing? Push the cows, you idiot. It's like, oh yeah, sorry guys. I just had a little whoopsie back there.
Sorry, just pick some oopsie daisies.
My soul left my body for 5 seconds. How dare I? Let me get back. And you got to get back to pushing the cows, or else everything will screw up, and you got to start back over, or not start all the way back over, but something similar. But yeah, that gator probably. I need to up my gun selection, but I'm probably just going to go with the good old-fashioned sneak up on him with a 12-gauge slug. And make sure he's gone, then get the calf body out of there. Because I've never had, well, I think we said it before, there's like in our town, there's been one person that's been bit by a gator that we know of. And their kids down at the Peace River boat ramp. Yeah,
I think it was a Gardner boat ramp right over here.
I don't even think they died or anything like that.
I think they're locals.
I think it was just like a little nibble, just like, hi guys.
Yeah.
But
they're water puppies.
It's funny, when I was younger, I wasn't scared of gators at all. Now that I'm older, I'm like, y'all are dinosaurs in the water. Oh, I tell you, one other horrible thing I had to do on a ranch for ranch work when I was living at the Texas ranch. I've talked about the flood we had. I think I did a couple episodes ago. That was like the worst one in 500 years. Well,
yeah. What is it with you and just supernatural disasters and floods?
You remember the very first episode? Dude, this is how awesome that lady's theory was. It really knows its way into my head. I don't even know if we published this, but the very first episode, it was called Chariots. I talk about where the lady told me about how you get to pick what life you have, like, before you're born or whatever. I'm like, that's crazy, hippie lady. But then later on, I started thinking about it. I'm like, whoa, there's some fun thoughts to this whole thing. Maybe my soul was just like, let's accidentally just screw some stuff up.
Yeah, like 100-year flood in Texas.
Yeah,
100-year flood.
500-year flood. They were very specific.
Yeah,
about
and then we went above the 100-year mark here. So you've been in 2 500-year.
It's cool. Chaos.
You need to move.
But while I was over there, so it got like, I described the Texas ranch. You got a third of it up high on high ground, a third of it's like sloping down, a third of it's bottom. Well, the bottom borders a river, and along the river there's a giant levee, dam, dike, whatever you want to call it, that borders this, so the river, when it goes up and down, doesn't flood into the ranch. Well, in this once every 500-year flood, the levee breaks, as Led Zeppelin says. Water flows through. We've got like a 800-acre lake now that, like, we see. I took a John boat over barbed wire fences, like 6 foot over barbed wire fences. Got the cows out of there. Anyways, when all this water drains off, finally, months later, and we've had pumps going to pump water out, we fixed the levee, there's been one problem. The water that we've been pumping out has been going to a low spot. And that low spot is where all the fish have been going, and the pump is starting to get clogged with fish. And out of an 800-acre lake, it's all been converted to down to like less than a quarter of an acre. And it had been there for days in the Texas summer. And the pump was jammed. And there was no way to get the pump out. And my grandfather was visiting. He owned the ranch. He was visiting. I was working out there. I was raising my daughter. Had her mom with me at the time. And my mom was visiting. He goes, well, I think the only way we can get that out is for someone to get in there and get it. And it's like me and 2 Texas cowboys. And they're like, yeah, we'll have to find somebody to get in there and get it. And I'm like,
I wonder who.
Yeah, and I'm just like, all right, let's. And I remember like I inched my way, and like dude, whenever so like we're up on a levee, and as you walk down the levee, there's like dry Texas clay dirt kinda. But then, like, when you get to where the water was, it just starts turning slick. It just starts all turning like the bottom of a flag pond for us. It just starts turning, and I start sliding and sliding. And it's nothing like gross shed. It's just kind of yucky mud. That's it. No big deal. As I get down to where, like, the pump head is, or the end of it is, like, in this soup. And I'm just like, all right, this is going to be okay, because I'm going to go immediately and, like, hose off afterwards. As long as I keep it, like I'm just gonna hug some dry land and just reach in with my arm and grab this big.
Did it go like that?
I reached in and I didn't like even really look. I remember going, this is gonna be purely through feel. Some stuff's still alive in there, poor things. And I reach in and I feel metal. I feel like because you know, like a pump line, it's like a almost like a fire hose material.
Yeah.
And then it goes out, and then you got this big metal pump head, like at the end of the line, that sinks down to the bottom. But I can actually like feel the metal ridge on it. And I actually like have my hand on the handle. I'm like, oh, this could be all right. Like I like grab some like clay, and I go and I start pulling, and it's coming, and I'm pulling, and then like, dude, the thing, like the bank I'm resting my body on, gives, and it goes from like it went from like my elbow to like almost my wrist, like I'm seeing the metal come out, to like the stuff my knees and my other arm is resting on starts giving way. Not all at once, but in a way
enough for you to know.
Enough for me to go, and like I go, I can't let go of this or else it'll drop even deeper, and I'm more screwed. So like I grab that, and it's like all at once I try to like heave ho and grab some more land, but as I do, it just comes out from under me, and I slip and fall in, and it goes. I remember it like first of all, immediately legs, waist, belly, chest, and I'm like, I still got it, and like, dude, my fingers, if it was wood, my fingernails would have been breaking off, but it was clay. Like I dig my fingers in, I'm like, no, no, and it comes like right up to my chin, like right up, and I'm like, and I inch, like I'm putting the toes of my boots into the side of the wall. I'm doing everything, and I'm not letting go of this damn pump, and like inch my way out and pull out and just fall down. And I never forget, my grandpa's dead now, but he goes, good job, we'll see you at the house. Takes off, and I'm like, woof, woof. I'm just pretty much Butters from South Park. So that was one rant. Like, don't get me wrong, there's probably like a dozen more stories like that, but like as horrible as that is, that's just ranch life. And when I see some of these videos from like really third world countries where I see it, I'm like, oh, like, you know, while I've taken a shower and I've in my clean clothes, I look at it and I go, oh, how disgusting of a life. Then I go back like, well, if someone took like a 5-minute video of me at my worst times, I probably shouldn't say that on record. Yeah, it's there's some dirty stuff you got to do on a ranch, and that sucks. But the other parts are cool. Anyways, back to the other thing I said. I think I'm going to shoot a gator. Merce, serious question. What is the best practical, cannot stress practical enough, firearm for a ranch hand?
For a ranch hand? And
Well,
you're shooting the gator, not me.
Just on a ranch.
Just, you know, for FWC's purposes.
It ain't a calf. Kiss my ass.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not doing anything.
It's endangering my property.
There you go.
Thank you, lawyer.
I think, I mean, just a good old like beat around rifle.
Well, I think we got a hog problem. I need to get some hogs. But I also want it, like, you know, I'm really thinking an AR-15, and not even like I'm not a crazy AR guy. I like guns, but I'm not.
I'd say like
I see on Twitter.
My go-to would be like just like a 30-30, like iron sight ranch, just something you're gonna throw and like from a pawn shop, like something you're just gonna beat the crap out of. It's gonna get rusty. It's gonna get nasty. Just something you always throw in and out of everything.
You have a good point on that.
That's what I would look at as just your practical, like
you get into the lever action, or
yeah, something like that. Something you're gonna get in the tractor with. You know, something you don't care about. If you want to go up a little bit, then I mean, then it's kind of dealer's choice. Because the only downside to a 30-30 is, out on like the pasture, you see a coyote out there a couple hundred yards, you can't hit
it's
him.
too big of a damn bullet.
Yeah, you're not gonna.
Unless you're shooting like artillery, just
anything over 100 yards,
it's a good brush gun.
Yeah.
Me and my brother Matt were talking. Like, dude,
I got an iron. I use the iron sight 22-250 is what I have, lever action.
If you had to pick, what about between an AR and an AK? America. Hey, you go the. I like as the AK the one thing the communists produce that's amazing. I mean, nothing's killed more communists. I'm joking. I mean, I'm not joking.
Communism's killed more communists.
Probably with AK-47s, but it is a sweet machine they made. But no, I don't know.
And like say if you're kind of going the AR-15 roundish, you could look at the Mini 14.
I'm saying this has
which is literally the Ruger Ranch rifle, is what it's called.
Is that the one that looks like a little smooth carbine that looks like you can like put a mod? Like it's almost got like that rail system on top, but it's almost got like that smooth stock.
That's the Mini 14 Ranch rifle. Okay. Because it's semi-automatic.
What like magazine stock? What does it come with? Magazine like stock, like the regular one.
It's probably like a 5-6 round, but you can buy a banana clip for it.
Okay, that works. All right.
Like it's bottom load. You can buy a banana clip.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, maybe that. I gotta kill this gator. It got one of our calves. FWC. It got one of our calves. It ain't getting no license. That is such a I've aired off on it before.
Yeah, it's on your property.
Yeah,
it should be your property in my opinion.
An
alligator in like a public waterway, a river, I could get it. But he's in my pond.
Yes. Anyways, so yeah, that's what the hell's been going on with us lately, dude. We haven't talked current events in a while.
It's because it just keeps getting worse, and it's depressing.
It's some of the wilder shit that's happened. I mean, we've had our domestic issues. I hear both sides blowing up over like the trans issue and like different the Bud Light to CMT to Tennessee crazy shit and all of this. I almost look at it like
I'm still trying to figure out why. Not why people are mad, but like why is this the last few months just getting shoved down everybody? Like why is it everywhere?
I think for the same reason there is a large. It's not the only reason. But I think one of the large reasons is for the same large reason that abortion is such a political debate. Now here's the thing. Both sides, I think on both those issues, have some, like leaving people fuck alone with their own business and not like throwing it on it and demanding other people change their lives around what you want. Whether you're a conservative or liberal, take that either way you want. But I think it is used as sort of what Noam Chomsky said. I got his name right. I'm happy about it. I've re-listened to episodes. I always get his name wrong. Noam Chomsky was this journalist from the 70s and 80s. And he was like very left-wing in how he didn't like corporations, how he thinks there should be a socialist government. But taking that out of it, the man had some like brilliant observations. One of them was, and this is to answer your question, why have this dramatic public argument? And what he said was, how the power elites benefit is by having a very intense and vigorous debate that is confinedly kept to very small margins, and have both those margins screaming crazy at each other, but make everything outside the margins not count. And like one of his examples of this was, I think spending was like, or for like bailing out corporations. Like he said, the back then, you gotta remember, this is like the 80s or something like that. He would say, well, the Republicans want to cut corporate tax by 5%, and the Democrats want to raise the corporate tax rate by 7%. And they'll, the Republicans will call the Democrats communist for wanting to raise it 7%, and the Democrats will call the Republicans fascist or backwards for wanting to cut it by 5%, and say they hate the homeless or whatever you hear. And they'll crank up those claims to intensity. But no one will ever talk about, while it's that loud of an argument between that -5 or +7, you'll never hear about the -100 or +100.
Yeah.
Or anything outside, like it's all, I feel with abortion, Like the abortion debate is, should the federal government control and subsidize this or not? Or no, hang on, let me rephrase that. No. Should the federal government control and take your money to pay for this, or should this be outlawed? Like, that's the two arguments. And it's not like, oh, you don't really ever hear the argument of, what about, like, I can just judge the shit out of you for it and you don't take my money for it? Like, you know, like some kind of, like, however you personally feel about it. If you don't believe it should be legal, like, I'm not even knocking that. We've talked about it before, shit's sake. I'm not even knocking that side of it, but, like, you have a case, but I'm just like, it's always clouded with these other things attached to it, these other conditions with this perspective that one side or the other has to. A great example of this is I think it was Jimmy Dore on Bill Maher, like another great example when it comes to places like Syria. You know, that's been in the news lately, but it's like the Republicans will argue, or the Democrats will argue, we need to bomb the living shit out of Syria. And the Republicans will argue, no, we just need to bomb Syria. Like, there is no, like, anywhere, like, we're not going to do this, or we're going to absolutely just take over the country 100%. Because that,
if I was a Syrian, I'd hate us.
Because there is, I'm not going to say profit. I mean, profit's a part of it. But there is incentive in not solving these issues.
Yeah.
That keeps nasty people that are already in power. It keeps them in power because we're still arguing about this dumb shit that doesn't matter. That really, like, sure, it does matter to us differently in our personal lives, but when it comes to taking my money, it doesn't matter that damn much. None of this does. I mean, that's my, like, little extremist part of it, but even the middle, I think you can make that argument. So that is what I believe. To answer your question, what's the point of all this?
Because we're seeing the trans stuff everywhere because we're bailing out the banks.
Yes,
is basically what you're saying.
Like, dude, yes, it's become politicized because, like, dude, like, literally after I've said it before, the March on Wall Street, whatever the hell it was, smelly hippies of the early 2000s, Occupy Wall Street, that was it. Like, dude, when they started going after the bankers were like, we're going to start funding a bunch of left-wing shit and make it hyper-political so y'all will get off our back. And they were like, all right. Well, the dumb ones were like, all right. The actual, like, really good lefties, like Jimmy Dore, even like you said, like Russell Brand, they might have bought into it for a little bit, but they're eventually like, no, y'all are just paying lip service to, like, this fringe leftist social view. But you're, like, making it like a Marriott commercial. You're making it like okay with killing babies by the end of the day. I know that's extremist, but whatever. Speaking of extremist shit, just the natural world right now. Merce, what the hell's going on with the U.S. dollar?
Oh, it's going to poop.
Hey, stocks are still on fire, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's crypto doing?
It's doing okay until the SEC once again meddles with it, and then it kind of tries to rebound. Seems like it's doing good, and then it's like, oh, it's performing well. No, we're gonna come flag you something to make it go back down again.
Well, I saw that the petrodollar ain't doing so hot.
The petrodollar is just slowly getting eroded away.
People are going around it.
People realize that they don't. Countries are realizing they don't need it.
And dude, like, on one hand, you know how, like, I remember it like 4 years ago, I read this article from Tho Bishop that I hate on quite a bit. Him, because he's like, I don't know, he's a weird kind of Republican. I digress. He shared a good article, and it was how the U.S. is starting little by little to impose more regulations on crypto and more. In China, that was notorious for cracking down on crypto, 4 or 5 years ago? Mm-hmm. Is now, like, in Hong Kong, they're like, hey, actually, now that the U.S. is starting to crack down on it, we're going to start opening it back up. Yep. And it's like, ooh, that is weaponizing some currency. And they're not weaponizing the currency. They're weaponizing reactions to the currency. Yep. And I'm like, brilliant play. If that's what they're doing, I don't know. I could be in way over my head with what I'm saying on that.
The little bit I've been following or seeing, I was like, this isn't going to bode well for us.
No, so if I do buy back into crypto, I'm going to follow his advice, and it's been my gut ever since Robinhood screwed with investments.
Yeah.
That one like 2 years ago, I think, maybe a year and a half ago. Ever since then, I think I just sold. It was during the crypto boom, and I made a little bit of change and sold out. But I said the next time I buy in, I will get a cold wallet, and I will not be using any of these damn app stores that have to answer to the U.S. government. That's Coinbase. That's Robinhood. That's man. I want to be one.
Unfortunately, you have to use the exchange though to get it to the cold wallet. But then once it's offline, then it's safe and gone. It's not like you can just go to bitcoin.com and send it straight to your wallet.
There's a way to do it. I'm just not smart enough to follow it yet, and I don't have the time nor the money. And I'm talking about buying guns. I've hardly got the money.
I've just scattered mine to multiple places, but I don't have any. I know I just haven't done it yet.
Shakes the dice. Come on, tax return.
Yeah.
Roll. So yeah, and what I know, China and Russia met up and had like a joint summit. But
yeah, there's something I really need to look into. The
Me
BRICS, the BRICS. It's their like new alliance pact. They're all working around together, and I think Mexico's in on it now. And it's like basically like other NATO. It's like going to be Axis and allies again. But
it's almost like for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
It's almost like we just need to stay away from entangling alliances.
Did you see the Axis of Evil thing?
Dr. Evil?
No. The who shared this? Was it Glenn Greenwald, who's like a great lefty journalist that lives in Brazil, but like he blew the WikiLeaks. He's not Julian Assange, but he's helped out quite a bit with WikiLeaks and some other stuff. But Glenn Greenwald released this thing. He screen capped it, where it was all of the all the different news stations from Fox News to CNBC to CNN, and I think they were all saying Russia, China, and possibly even Mexico make new axis of could be another new axis of evil, and they're all just saying the same shit out, and it's like, how convenient.
Yeah.
That they're all just echoing the same thing in unison, like one after the other.
I was going to say, though, it's going to be another Axis and allies, but I don't know that we're going to be the allies.
All right, another thing and like, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I give just as much a shit about trans people as I do about Mexicans, as I do about white people. I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit about anybody.
It's same, except for people like I care for, and everyone else go pound sand. However,
as you say that to our entire listening audience.
Like everybody, yeah. Oh, and if y'all are listening to me, yeah, y'all are cool too. Y'all are in with the gang. Everyone else, yeah. Unless like I'm doing trade with you or what? Screw that philosophy we've talked about before. Anyways, what I'm getting at is, you asked like why is there all this like political chargedness around? I gave my long-winded explanation. But another reason that it really benefits them to have this intense political divisiveness to very easily held solutions, with problems with easily held solutions, is because whenever they're having all that fighting, but then something like, oh, China's the bad guy, they all go, oh, hey guys, listen, I know we fight a lot, but we all hold hands and we all get together and sing Kumbaya when it comes to the big bad China, because we care about human rights, damn it. Just like we care about children at Waco. Like it's insane. They get you, whichever side you feel about that subject, you become more comfortable with that side, and you'll excuse this little shit, which is actually the big shit.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think it was George Carlin, the old comedian, that said.
Is he the guy with the ponytail?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he's awesome. He was absolutely awesome. But he said, the Republicans are full of shit and the Democrats are full of shit. Let me tell you, whenever you have bipartisan legislation, the amount of shit it is full of will blow your mind to means you will not believe. The bailouts, all the banker bailouts are across the board. Like, they all hold hands and I think you're a communist and you think I'm a fascist. But guys, we can get together and help these poor bankers that
have not learned their lesson ever and do the same crap and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all a useful distraction.
What was that video you sent me? That the one head lady that was like part of the SEC or something. She was just she was like the Bank of America's head.
Yeah, and it's talking about internal corruption.
Yeah, and then she literally was just going right into the government or something.
Yeah, it was what it is. It's a banking committee meeting, I think, on the federal level. It might be on some state level, but I think it's the federal level. And they're like, we'd like to welcome Janet into regulating this banking sector or whatever. And they're like, she just came from Bank of America, and that's gonna do us all a lot of favors. And
we're gonna miss her. Like,
and it's all like wink, wink, nod. We're about to fuck everybody, right? Yeah, baby, yeah, we are. And it's like, oh God, y'all suck. So all this stuff they can sing Kumbaya about. What, bombing Syria, China's the bad guy, Russia's the bad guy. Those are the worst bad guys in history, but I put this poll on Twitter. What city has most negatively affected your life that you can directly correlate it to? Would it be Beijing? Would it be Moscow? Or would it be Washington, D.C.?
It would be Washington, D.C.
By a lot!
It's Washington, D.C.
And I got to fact check myself on one thing. I'm sorry, everybody. It's a little bit doom and gloom. I said, like, and in a lot of ways, we got to realize we are freer than our ancestors were in a lot of ways. But if there's something that, like, totally made me eat crow on that, like, just blanket fact. Did you see that thing I shared on Twitter? It was the U.S. incarceration rate since the 20s.
No.
Of percent of the population. Dude, in the 20s, it's like this. And then in the 50s, it gets so it starts out like a millimeter. It gets to like an inch in the 50s. Then in the 80s, it just goes boom, explodes like a trumpet. And it's like it's more than quadrupled what it was when my dad was young in the 50s.
Well, the prison system itself is a massive moneymaker.
Oh, dude, yeah, and the private prisons lobby the government to make more petty laws that they can lock up people for. And it's like, because they can have legal slavery where they pay people $2 an hour. And
they go do work, and then
I've seen the dumb slap forehead criticism on Twitter of like, this should disprove libertarians. It's like, y'all approve private prisons. It's like, no, you don't, bitch. We're not cool with prisons. maybe a debtor's prison. Maybe under some really special conditions. They're like, that's that's much better than what we got now.
Yeah.
Good Lord, I don't know.
I think it either just go ahead and just swift execution, or it's like 1 year hard, like it's just hard labor and then back.
Dude, speaking of the awesome prison system, all right. If anyone out there has any free time, and y'all haven't already, I cannot recommend enough for the next month while it's still on YouTube and free before it goes behind a paywall. Dave Smith's interview with Jose Galison of No Way Jose. And what this guy is, he's probably not the most foremost expert on the Oklahoma City bombing, but he's kind of like, some of these people, not even about that, but even like if you listen to like military historians or something like that, they like have such an in-depth knowledge of what they're talking about that you casually listening to it can like barely keep up. There's a lot of stuff in the Oklahoma City bombing that like kind of does that.
It'll blow your mind.
Yeah, a lot of minds. But no, Jose Galison does a very good everyday man's understanding of what happened. And they had this discussion because he's been blowing it up.
It's like in the videos I look for the comments where somebody's like, just explain this to me like I'm 5.
He does a very good job of doing that. And I've gone like a couple of times talking about Trentadue, who was that first responder. I might have been wrong about him starting a boys' Big Sister, Big Brothers Club, whatever. But he was the first responder that killed himself by shooting himself in the head after he drug himself through the grass and stabbed himself in a car. And
it's impressive.
Yeah,
I'm picturing like in Fight Club when Edward Norton is like fighting himself and he's like dragging like along the ground. All crazy.
It would have put that scene to shame.
Yeah,
like by what happened by the official story. So like, dude, I knew there was other stuff around Oklahoma City, but really that Trentadue stuff like freaked me out.
No, there's not. Oklahoma's a bear.
Yes, but this particular bombing incident, at least. That one. That part of Oklahoma City history. So, Timothy McVeigh was the main culprit. But, and this was neat, I was listening to like the expert that Jose had listened to, the guy that lived there at the time. And it's verified. Like during the manhunt, and I can't remember if it lasted multiple weeks or multiple months, but throughout the first chunk of it, they're looking for someone, like they have an artist sketch of Timothy McVeigh, and it looks exactly like Timothy McVeigh. I mean, like dead center. They also have a drawing of this John Doe number 2. And this John Doe number 2 kind of has like a real... I joke that I kind of have a Stan Marsh from American Dad jawline. Like, this guy, like, for real's got, like, the square... Is it Stan Marsh? Not Stan Marsh.
No, that's Stan Marsh is from South Park. Stan Smith.
Stan Smith. This guy legit has the Stan Smith jawline. Like, I showed you a picture of him. Bandana, right. Big, huge... It is a drawing that looks exactly like this guy, whose name is Kenneth Trentadue.
Like as if like the drawings were from a picture like that.
Almost. Candid. But now here's the thing. I got to tell... So for the first like 2 months of our first big chunk of this manhunt for Timothy McVeigh, they're also looking for this John Doe number 2 that like over 30 people eyewitnessed as well as Timothy McVeigh. Right? So... about halfway through the search, once they find Timothy McVeigh, or it might even be before they find Timothy McVeigh, the FBI just kind of stops looking for John Doe number 2. They quit putting wanting posters out. They just stop all investigation into who this guy was. There's never they catch a guy. There's never ongoing nothing. They just stop. They focus it all on Timothy McVeigh. Because they catch Timothy McVeigh. We got video of that, right? And then I think he got executed. So here's the thing. Kenneth Trentadue was in prison in Oklahoma City at the time. He, like a little quick backstory on Kenneth, he was a Vietnam vet. He got addicted to heroin while he was in Vietnam, came back, got arrested for it, got locked up on probation, or got out, got put on probation, and one of his conditions on probation was that he had to be totally sober. And he was like, listen, I don't know if he actually said this, but pretty much he was like, I'm going to be straight up with y'all. I'm no longer doing drugs, but I'm still going to drink beer. And they're like, no, you can't do that. That's a violation of probation. He goes, I'm violating probation then because I'm drinking beer still. But I'm done with heroin, I'm done with all that. He gets he gets in some trouble on probation for that. But he has a Mexican wife. And he gets arrested violating probation one more time, coming back into the U.S. from Mexico. Because he was... they assume out of country visiting his wife's family.
Right.
So he gets arrested and sent to prison in Oklahoma City for this violation of probation, right?
Probably leaving the country without telling anybody.
So, anyways, his wife and multiple other people say, and also multiple other prisoners say how he's like really changed and how he's reformed his life. Now he can't wait to get home and see his wife and his kids waiting on him and stuff like that. And he's telling his wife they have some kind of sweet deal for him where he's going to be able to get out early if he follows some special plan that they got. Okay? So then, Oklahoma City bombing happens, right? Fast forward to them looking for John Doe number 2. It is a couple of weeks into it. Kenneth Trentadue, as the official story goes, kills himself in his prison cell. Now he does it in like how it's explained in the they have it well backed up with documents. It's almost like a Jeffrey Epstein cell. Like it's really hard to kill yourself in one of these damn things. Like it's a really safe cell block or whatever. And he supposedly hung himself, but whenever the family came in to look at his body, which like it was odd because he wasn't any hints of suicide or anything like that, he had massive bruises all over his body. And his hands had like his wrists were like almost tied to like if they were zip tied.
Right.
Like it was to the point where it was almost like breaking skin. And it really seemed like the guy got beaten to death in his prison cell. So the FBI takes on the case.
Of course. Good guys.
They declare suicide and they ask the family. They go, hey, would you like to cremate the body? And the family goes, no, actually, we'd like to have an autopsy. And the FBI says, okay. They go to the mortician, and the mortician's on record with all this, and they go, hey, can you cremate the body? And the mortician goes, well, I'll ask the family. And they go, don't do that. Should you? And he goes, like, the mortician gets pissed off. He goes, no, I will do this if the family request it, but if not, I'm not doing it. Well, for some reason, like, the FBI, like, whenever he goes to do the autopsy, he's not allowed in the room with federal investigators. And he's like, they have to, like, be left alone with the body for, like, 1 hour or something. Like, he goes, and he's like, I was pretty much not allowed to do my autopsy. By the way, this very mortician would die a week later due to poisoning before he could testify. So anyways, all right, Kenneth Trentadue, guy dead on the table. His brother happens to be like have the opposite life. He becomes a high power attorney. And like how Kenneth had a lot of don't give a fuck, like I'm gonna drink beer on probation, I don't care. His brother does like the legal version of not giving a fuck and is like, I'm dedicating my life to going after the FBI for killing my brother. So he takes them to court for $1 million, and when he accuses them of tampering with evidence, and they are like under oath, have to say whether or not they did tamper with evidence, their answer is like, quote, it was within our right to do what we did. Like, they did not say, like, they wouldn't, or he won $1 million. He used that to further, like, funnel money for his case to fight the FBI. And he was calling in 2 of Kenneth's, I said his jail cell mates, or old jail mates or whatever, friends from prison were like, no, like, he was really excited about getting out. Well, Kenneth's brother was going to have them testify of, like, to that. As soon as he gets them to agree to testify, within I think it's 3 days, one of them dies of a drug overdose.
In prison.
For which you can get drugs in prison.
Yeah,
like you can.
But it seems like it's hardly that much drugs.
Within 2 weeks, the other one dies of a heart attack. And it's like, and as they pointed out, they're like, dude, maybe the mortician like had some enemy that really wanted him dead. Maybe the one guy actually did die of a drug overdose. Maybe the other guy did die of a heart attack. He goes, but for this all to happen around this one. Now here's the kicker to like all this. Kenneth Trentadue is the spitting image of John Doe number 2. Like, when you compare the drawing to him, like there, and the conspiracy is this was a massive psyop. And this was and like you got to consider. Hang on, let me finish on Kenneth Trentadue. We're at last. Where it last kind of left off, I think the brother was still pursuing, but there's been everything about the case just smells from between the ATF and the FBI. And why, as they ask them, they're like, this is deep. Now, everything I just said, as best as I can recall, is like fact. You can look it up yourself if you search Kenneth Trentadue. Do it on something besides Google, because Google gave me a hard time finding stuff on this guy, but like Brave search engine did. Like I was kind of explaining, I was going all schizo on my mom explaining this to her. She goes, all right, but why? Like, what purpose is there behind doing this? It's like, all right, back up the timeline. First, you have the ATF on like, I can't remember if this was specifically their like kind of insider baseball for Ruby Ridge. I think a lot of it was like, we want to prove how important of an organization we are.
We matter.
We matter. We're going to show it to everybody. Boom, Ruby Ridge happens. And we're like, oh, we can make, and when Ruby Ridge happened, like before that, there's starting to be kind of a militia movement. Then it's mostly a right-wing militia movement in the country of people like ultra-constitutionalists who are like starting to not really recognize federal government authority. And and that whether brazenly or just kind of softly, are kind of like, we're questioning a lot of this. So they do Ruby Ridge. In response to Ruby Ridge, Google that if you don't know what it is. That's a bonkers
that in itself is just
the official narrative is insane. Like if it happened that way, the Ruby Ridge is so bad. The reaction to it is more militias. Like more militias are formed in the U.S. and the ATF goes, oh shit, we messed that up. We've really got to make up for this. Waco. Like, Waco happens.
It's just like just repeatedly dropping the ball.
And it's been like I can't remember what I'm pulling this from, so like, you know, deal with it. Call me out on it if I'm wrong on it. But I think some of the insider baseball is like, we really need to make up for Ruby Ridge, so we're gonna catch these bad guys with all these guns in Waco. So then Waco happens, and after Waco, like the militia movement in the United States was at an all-time high in terms of numbers. Like they're getting formed in every state, and not like I'm not trying to romanticize it. It's not like a bunch of badass patriots that are about to take on Washington, D.C. It's mostly fags LARPing with AR-15s. I love you guys. Y'all are awesome, but like training's good. Shooting's good, but like I think a lot of it's just fat guys just going, when they come to my door, not over my cold dead hands. But you know, like any group, they're humans. They're whatever. God bless you guys. I believe a lot of the same stuff y'all do, but come on. Come on. For the guys serious about it, don't shoot me, please.
Yeah.
But so like that, and then after Oklahoma City bombing happened, and Timothy McVeigh was like an avowed quasi neo-Nazi, quasi like constitutional extremist, like has his own weird interpretation of shit. And after him, he was the poster child of like, this is why this ideology is bad. This is why because it leads people to do it. And after that, militias start going away. And it was the think about like this. Oklahoma City bombing was the single largest, the claim was at the time, and Dave Smith brought this up, it's an excellent point. It was the single largest domestic terror incident in American history, with the most number of casualties. How often did they talk about it when we were growing up? How often they talk about that versus how much they talk about 9/11?
Yeah.
9/11 was worse, it was bigger magnitude, and it was...
Yeah, I can remember hearing about it, like, but I still don't remember really knowing like, dude, what it was.
Over 100 people died.
Yeah.
And like in a kindergarten school, or like a daycare or something like that. And don't get me wrong, like dude, if official documents came out tomorrow and it was, there were some, I don't know, bureaucratic errors. And Timothy McVeigh and this one other guy that didn't matter is like the lone wolf responsible for it. No, I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to like disrespect or piss on any of the people that died there or anything like that. But when you see all this shit that falls out from it, from Terrence Yeaky to Kenneth Trentadue to all these people around them that drop dead like flies.
That's what always happens, though.
I know. And it's like, that's why... I mean, it's good that people are waking up, but the notion that this is some new stuff because of some like new, I know you don't believe this, a lot of smarter people don't, but the fact like this is something new is just, I always think, I've said it before on here, the Romans were horrific, and that was for the little smidge of power they had. That compared to our federal government and military, what would humans do for that power?
They more than a Klondike bar.
yeah. They definitely would do it for a Klondike bar. So I don't know. It was like, and I heard. I told you I'd find a spot. I'd find a spot to wedge it in, dude. I've been nerding out. All right, so I've been nerding the hell out. Like every now and then, my brain will get fixated on something way too hard. Whether it's a song that I'll put on repeat for hours and hours and hours every time Merce goes to work with me and every time we leave, and it doesn't get old. Like I saw this quote earlier this week. I believe it was from Commie Gibberish of the Day. Good for that page. But it was the quote was, there are decades which nothing happens, and then there are weeks in which decades happen. Vladimir Lenin on the fall of imperialist Russia and the rise of the USSR. And it's like, dude, I remember growing up, Dave Smith again, I remember him saying something like this, but it really like solidified with me. Like in the late 90s, early 2000s, before 9/11, I had the sense of like, history is kind of over. like all the stuff has happened. We've invented most of the stuff. There's this internet thing.
The great
happening.
wars have happened.
Yeah, that now it's just kind of cruising and finding world peace from here on out.
I remember being like sad that there was like no more like worlds to explore.
Yeah, like it's all been figured out.
Yeah.
We got it all in the bag. We got the official story. We know how history went. It's all written. There's nothing new under the sun. We know it all. We're good. Put it in the bag. There's just some experts that are figuring out some of the details. But it's like, dude. Then 9/11 happened. I mean, I was too young. I was 11 years old. But it's like, I think that, holy shit, what Osama bin Laden did, what he put into motion was like the dominoes of like 9/11 and a Patriot Act and a country to brazenly invade and financial incentives growing bigger and bigger on keeping this shit going. And that's why I think there's so much of this. I have my own views on certain aspects of the culture war that like I mostly keep to myself, but I believe those views are hyper aggressive, hyper inflated, and imposed on the culture to fight over with the central government, whereas nothing's being done about the main thing, the money. Like spending always goes up,
which is actually hyperinflated.
Yeah, and it's like, that's why I kind of piss on the Republicans the most, because they're the ones going, we got to cut spending because all of these reasons that are true, and that it's gonna make inflation, and there's like, all right, then you get a Congress, and then you get a president. What do? You increase the spending, you bastards.
Yeah, it's the one thing that annoys me. It's like, they're always like, we're just going to raise the debt ceiling. I was like, then why have it?
Yeah.
I was like, why can't we just be like, oh, we're broke, we're shutting it down, like, sorry.
But hey, the good news, I don't know, maybe it's my feed just channeling shit to me. Like channeling kind of stuff that...
Oh, you've ruined mine, so...
Yeah, I've ruined his YouTube feed with dog-headed people videos. And
yeah, it's from our talking or different things, it is nothing but, like you scroll through like reels or just, I'm just going to like lay here and watch a couple funny videos for a bit.
Giants!
Yeah, it's giants, or how Egypt actually was in South America, and that's why the pyramids are there too. It's just...
USA!
Yeah, no, I can't just watch like fat people falling down anymore. And
not the same way, at least.
No.
It's all Anunnaki from here on out.
Yeah.
But, like, that's what gives me hope when I see things trending like national divorce. I know a majority of people don't believe in that, or even, I know probably a majority of Americans believe that is a crazy idea. And that's fine, but it's a lot less than it used to be. These ideas, said at the end of...
I think it's just the rift between is getting farther.
And we're accumulating more knowledge. We're talking to each other in different ways and better ways. And it's a damn mind virus that's growing. And there's arguments happening that can't be supported. We saw COVID. We saw a more expensive propaganda campaign than World War II. Memes beat the shit out of it.
Yeah.
The nerdy ass Rand Paul beat the shit out of it. I don't know if I told you about it, but I was re-listening to some Shane Gillis and like his best thing. I'm not gonna try to tell the whole joke, but it's like when Donald Trump first starts debating, and Rand Paul is like after Donald Trump starts dropping elbows, Rand Paul's just like, listen, everybody, I like Rand Paul, but he's like, listen, everybody, we all need to come to our senses. We need to talk about the issues. We really need to focus on this and not be so bombastic. And the crowd would be like, shut the fuck up, nerd. The quarterback's talking. Shut up, stupid. Trump made this fun. We're going to let it be fun for now. It's like, Rand Paul was mostly right about what he was saying. He's like, I guess. He goes back to his dad and he's like, Dad, what, Ron, what can I do to like win over the people? And Ron's like, have you tried not being a bitch? Ron wouldn't say that, but I just picture it in my head.
Maybe Ron.
Maybe we would. Maybe he's just like,
he gets home and Ron just beats the crap out of him. I'm picturing like what is it, Mr. Deeds?
You're still technically my property.
Yeah. It's Mr. Deeds when the quarterback was cussing or whatever his dad. He's like, "No, Daddy, no!" And he comes in and beats him.
Is that Mr. Deeds or is that the same quarterback from Waterboy?
No, it's not the same quarterback because Mr. Deeds is he takes over like the football team. He finds out he's gonna have all that money.
That's right.
So it's a random just jockey like quarterback that cusses in front of the lady. And he calls his dad. He's like, "You use profanity in front of a lady."
That's right. That was good. I forgot about that. That was good. Well, guys, it's getting long. What are we at? How long?
Just
tell the people.
1 hour and 37 seconds.
Yee! No breaks.
I mean, it might have
Based.
Yeah. How's no breaks is based?
Yes.
Well, I mean, on trains anymore.
It's not based to call yourself based unless you're me. Then I can do it. No, that's gay. I'm gonna stop being gay right now. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm tired. I gotta get home. I'm working tomorrow. Follow us on Merce. What can they follow us on? You do
again everywhere. Just literally, you just type in Google the Bandit Radio Hour or DuckDuckGo the Bandit Radio Hour. We're on Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, pretty much all major social media platforms. Oh, and the Instagram as well, the Twitter.
What he said. And hey, commenter.
Or the Dozier now, I guess.
The Dozier.
Dozier. Because Elon Musk made the
Dozier. Okay, all right.
Made the Twitter logo Doge.
I got you. Have a good week, guys. Cheers. All right.